Alright, I thought I'd finally get to this. I don't know how long this is going to be, but I'll try to keep it as compact as possible, especially since I'm trying to put the first 3 Spyro the Dragon games from the original series. I'm not going to confront the new trilogy because I haven't really played it, nor do I have strong opinions one way or the other, since I haven't really gotten into it. I haven't had the time. Alright. Spyro the Dragon, Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon. Although you might as well say Spyro Ripto's Rage. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, they're very good games. Unfortunately, I don't think I've even beaten one of them. Maybe the first one, but not even that, probably, because I just suck at it. Not to mention, I can't get perfection. Catch Your Nanas on YouTube. I will just give a little plug for her. She has all 3 of them. It's going to take you weeks to get through them. Even with a really good internet connection, it's going to take you weeks to get through watching all of them. Ugh. But it's worth it. She's very good at it. But to start with the first game, to sum it up, Spyro is apparently the only dragon that is not affected by the evil Nasty Nork, spelled G-N, and G-N for the Nork too. He's the only one not affected by Nasty Nork's evil spell that turns everybody to crystal and turns all the dragon treasure into his Nork minions across the realms. And so somehow Spyro, somehow surviving, goes around and beats them all up, and then beats Nasty Nork, and that's pretty much the end of him. We'll hear for a while. In the next video, I will confront the resurrection of Nasty Nork, as well as the next villain coming up. In Spyro Ripto's Rage, Spyro, wanting to go to Dragon Shores, decides to go through the portal, but then people in another place called Avalar, which apparently has a bunch of furries, they suck Spyro in, which is ironic, because there are those 2 groups in the fandom called furries and scalies, so it's actually like Spyro, a scaly, is being drawn into a furry world, which is pretty much what it is. There are fawns, there's an anthropomorphic cheetah, there's an anthropomorphic little head groundhog, or whatever the hell the professor is, etc. But near the same time, well, yeah, only a few days or so, probably before Spyro was sucked in, another scaly, Ripto, and his 2 other scaly henchmen, Crush and Gulp, were accidentally drawn into Avalar because Hunter, the idiot cheetah, decided to put in his birthday for the coordinates, which somehow correspond to Ripto's world. And, well, Ripto wanted to take over because has an old Napoleon complex because he's so short. But, and we have Spyro Year of the Dragon, possibly one of the more interesting ones, because it actually introduces a character that doesn't really come back. That's Bianca. But we'll get to that eventually. Spyro and Hunter and all the dragons are sleeping, and these mysterious rhino-looking things, which we'll just call Rhinox, and Bianca sneak in and steal the dragon eggs, because apparently all the dragons were getting busy and had a bunch of dragon eggs. I don't know where, dragon stork, whatever. But then the dragon eggs are stolen, and Spyro and Hunter go after them and find out that this evil, fat-ass dinosaur sorceress, we find out eventually, not only is she trying to steal the eggs, but she's trying to steal the eggs, wait for them to hatch, and kill the little newborn dragons and take their wings, so she can get an evil spell that makes her immortal. Or just a spell. We don't really call it, we don't want to call it evil. That's weird, because immortality is a little neutral like that sometimes. Anyway, and so Spyro eventually shoots down the sorceress off a UFO, and she crashes into this evil pink goo and dies, luckily. Anyway, now if I really wanted to confront the games, I'd have to probably take some time, and I'm going to, because I wanted to. But before too much silence is on here, I'll get right to it. Spyro the Dragon is good for introducing people to the game. Then again, any of them are really good for that, because they all have a good tutorial aspect to it. Sometimes it can be repetitive, but it's still useful. But if I had to rank these games in terms of, I don't know, how much I enjoyed them, now Spyro the Dragon is probably still my all-time favorite because it's just basic enough, and I really think even a freaking 5-year-old could beat this game with enough time. It's not terribly difficult, except near the end, although there are some relatively difficult. Then again, Spyro the Dragon was not about very difficult to get collectibles or very difficult to get completion, because you can actually complete the game relatively easily, because there's only the issues really of collecting 3 items. The difficult ones are the eggs, by these little blue thieves in full covering, like, what are they, burqas or something, it looks like, or, yeah. The little thieves are apparently Muslims. I don't know, it's weird. I'm confused. And I'm rambling on, but that's the whole point of these. But yeah, Spyro I would say is very interesting because it's very basic. But then we get into Spyro 2 and Spyro 3, Ripto's Rage and Year of the Dragon respectively, where we start getting more interesting with the nemesis. I mean, Ripto's this little short guy and he has these henchmen. And I'm trying to remember I don't think there's a third boss. There's only 3 worlds. They've completely eliminated spring with their little theme of summer forest, autumn plains, and winter tundra. But, it's not like there really would have been a really good third boss. Except Ripto, he is the third boss. It's just not... Anyway. The difficulty in that game was, of course, the orbs. There wasn't really eggs, I don't believe. There were... Yeah. They actually had the least number of collectibles, but then again, admittedly, Year of the Dragon reduced it pretty well as well, to just 2 eggs and the gems. And Year of the Dragon, it's as if Insomniac had some sort of prophetic portent of their eventual demise, so they had to make this game as detailed and as pretty good as they could. You're collecting dragon eggs, which is probably the next obvious collectible that someone was going to think of. So they did it, and yes, Year of the Dragon is notoriously difficult, but then again, so is Ripto's Rage. But then again, Ripto is no slouch, considering he is the exactly last boss. He's 3 stages, and they get successively harder, so you don't want to fuck around with them. Sorcerers, on the other hand, is a little easier as long as you've gotten used to the whole shooting thing. In particular, the stationary cannons, moving little wooden tank things, and UFOs, which, well, that's the one problem with that battle. That's the first time you've really gotten into a UFO. Even if you go through the whole rest of the game, you'll never get into a UFO and try to pilot it around. You'll just have to jump into that thing and be a regular Sid or something and just pilot natural and get in there and be able to shoot her down without any real difficulty, but you're going to have difficulty. In retrospect, I mean, Caterina's made it look very, very easy. But then again, she does handle things a little better with regards to things like cars, or the vehicles in Spyro, or anything that involves sitting there and shooting. But, I can't exactly say I'm very much of an expert on these because I haven't finished them, but I can say that they're all very good. I'd recommend them. I mean, if you want to introduce your kid to some good old PlayStation games and you don't want to spend the money to get a Wii or a Xbox 360 or PS3 because those are all expensive or pieces of crap or involve getting a wireless internet connection, all of which can be very, very expensive and very, very unpleasant for you. But you can still find old PlayStations, and yeah, I definitely recommend getting these. I hardly want to turn this into a review, but I'm probably going to have to, if only to extend this a little longer. But I could probably talk on a little more. I mean, there's an interesting little bits of storyline that come in there. There's the first instance of real romance or presence of females at all in the game, in the form of Elora, and that was pretty much it. I think she was like the only female in that game, and of course she was the only romantic interest for Spyro. And then we have Spyro 3, when we actually have 2 females at least, Bianca and the Sorceress. The Sorceress is just a dried up old hag and she dies, and Bianca gets together with Hunter of all people, the stupid cheetah, and they have a kiss, and then Elora is trying to drop hints to Spyro that she wants to get together with him, but he forgets it, basically. I don't know, I can't comment much on the fandom. It's kind of a cult classic. You have a lot of people that like it, but they're pretty much underground about it because they don't want to seem really stupid for liking a kid's game, which is basically what it was designed for. But anyway, I'll end this before it even gets to 10 minutes. There will be a second part where I'll probably be spending a lot of time on just 2 games, but they're on 2 different ends of the spectrum, as it were. But I hope you'll enjoy those. I'll be putting this together. You're not going to get many other fancy wallpapers besides Year of the Dragon, because that's all I can find. Anyway, see you later.